Alright, hello again, this is Jeff Scott. I've been coming at you talking JavaScript courtesy of Murox JavaScript, 2nd edition, and we're in Chapter 3. And what I did previously was I went back and I rewrote the miles per gallon program to where I considered it to be, for lack of better words, better written. Okay? And I'm going to leave that there because what they do in the rest of the chapter here is they next go on page 94 and they rewrite the future value program. Then on page 96 and 97 they go and they rewrite the enhanced test scores program. Now you should be able to go back and you'd really have your choice. You could either use what I've done as a template or even just copy it and make the changes. But you should be understanding the idea now of constants, variables, loops, and control structures. Alright? Now I do want to mention one more thing here, because as the chapter goes on, what the author talks about here, I'm going to move ahead because again this is the test scores and whatever. That's all fine. There's, all right. But let's talk about an array. Okay? Let's suppose that I've got a very small class of students. All right, I'm going to write myself just a function here, main. Okay? And I'm going to assume right now I've got a class of 10 students. We just took a test. All right? And I'm going to call these student 1 grade, and that person got a 76. And what I'm going to do is, just to make it simpler, alright, there's my 10 students. 2, 3, 4, 6, because I skipped 5, I guess, 5, 7, 9, 8, and 10. And I'm just making up bogus scores. These mean absolutely nothing. 82, 71, 100. We're assuming a scale that's between 0 and 100. Okay, again, these values that are in here mean absolutely nothing. Okay, so let's suppose that what I did is, rather than giving these people grades like this, what if I just asked someone to enter 10 grades? Okay, do you understand what I'm saying? So I could have said var student grade 1 equals, and I could have come in here, and just to show you this, okay, I could have come in here and done this. Parse int prompt please enter grade. And we could have been nice and said 0 to 100. So they knew pretty much what grade to enter. Alright. And I'm going to run out of room here, so enter grade 0 to 100. And we'll give it a default value of 77. I just made that number up. It means absolutely nothing. Okay, and we need one more parent. So we could have done that. And then we could have validated each one of the grades. It'll work just fine. All right? But what if I now have a bigger class and I've got 100 people in the class? Now you get into the point where this is kind of ridiculous to do this, to have 10 different variables. These variables themselves, since they're all simple variables, they're actually referred to as scalar variables because they can only hold one value at a time. what if instead of doing this, we did something like this? So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to comment out this whole thing. And don't worry, I haven't saved it yet, and that's why I don't have the color coding, so we can do that. We'll call this gradeArray.js. Okay? So what if instead of doing this, I came in here and I said we're going to make create what's called an array. So I'm going to say var grades equal new array. I'm trying to make sure I'm giving you the right syntax here. In fact, the easiest way to do that is not even like that. That's harder than it has to be. Just this. Okay? Now, I haven't given it a size yet. Don't worry about that. But if you remember from earlier, and I'm going to remove these now. Hopefully, no, I'll leave them there. That's fine. Let me just hit enter a few times so I can move this up. All right. If you remember when we did a for loop, I can do this. If I know I have 10 people in the class, for example, I can say for I equals 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab that code that I had before. And prompt, enter grade, and I'm going to say here for student, and if I say I, then the first one is student 0, so I'm going to say here, I'll put this on 2 lines, for student plus, and I'm going to put in here I plus 1 plus, okay, and then I'm saying that it should be still 0 through whatever, okay, and do we still have this, is this still lining up? Those two line up, those two line up, and I need my backslash there. So now, shouldn't need a backslash there, that actually should all line up. Paren, plus, 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 enter grade for student, need a double quote here. There we go. So, there, okay. Now, watch what happens when I run this program. Okay, if you would, please. All right, so I'm going to have to get my program to run this. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab the, what's the last? Well, the miles per gallon should be fine. I'll grab miles per gallon 2, copy that, and paste. And we'll change the name of this to gradeArray.html. Okay, and let me open that file because I want to make sure that I change this to gradeArray. And I change this to gradeArray. All right, now let's run the program. Enter grade for student 1. I should have had a space there. All right, okay, they got a 77. For student 2, they got an 88. For student 3, you see what we're doing? 44, 55, 66, 77, 88, 99, 99, and 100. So now I've read in 10 grades. Now that array actually holds the grades for 10 different people. Okay? And again, I need a blank space there. That'll pretty it up quite a bit. All right, now that I've done that, let's put another loop in here and let's echo out what we just entered. All right. So I'm going to say here document.write student number, like we just did, I plus 1, all right, plus, and I want to make sure I've got enough room for this, so grade plus grades, what's called sub I. All right, now we have to make one more change here, and we have to say here grades sub I equals this. All right, I want to make sure I give you plenty of room so you can see everything that's going on here. All right, so what we're saying here is read in a grade for student 0 and put it in grade sub 0. Then for student 1, arrays start with 0. This is called the array right there. That's the array subscript. Arrays always start at 0. All right, so if you don't get it, let's run this and see what happens, okay? Hopefully I didn't make any mistakes. So I'm just gonna put in 10 grades. 88, 77, 66, 55, 44, 33, 22, 11, 99, and 100. And now, there are the grades. I needed my BR tag, as you can see, but we'll put that back in. And the point is, you saw how fast we were able to do that. So, document.write, let's put a BR tag in here. Okay, so let's do that again. And we'll make it real easy. We'll go 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10. And there are our grades. All right? So hopefully you saw how easy that was. Now, normally, let's say I had a class of 500 students. All right? So let's say if I did, then I'd have to change this from 10 to 500. And that would be really bad to have to read it in 500 grades like that. But I could do it. Again, it could be done. That isn't even the point. Typically, I'm going to get output like that, or my input, I should say. I'm going to get that probably from a file someplace. All right, somebody else will have written it. All right, I've just tried to pretty it just a tad more, just so you can see exactly what's going on. I want to run it one more time, and I want to put in the same. I'll put in the same 10 grades, but I'll reverse them. Whoops. So we'll go back and we'll run the HTML file again. Now 100, 90, I guess I didn't reverse them, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. And you can see my output. Arrays and loops work hand in hand with one another. Now that should be kind of obvious taking a look at this. But there's even more that we can do. Okay? And I just want to show this to you. Again, all this code that I'm keying in, I'm going to end up saving it. So, while I'm doing this, here I'm printing out all the stuff, right? You see that. All right. But what if while I did this, I also wanted to add, I wanted a sum of all my grades. So var sum. And we'll just set that equal to 0 for right now. All right. We also wanted what we call highest. And we'll set that equal to 0. And we'll get lowest, and we'll actually set that equal to 100. Now you might have to think about that, why you'd want to do that. And not only do we want the sum, but we also want the average. Set that equal to 0.0. All right, so this will be, again, grades array. This will be sum of all grades. Now think about this. If the maximum grade is 100 and you have 10 students, that would mean the maximum number of points that you could possibly get would be 1,000, 100 times 10. So that's the average of all grades. This will be the highest grade. This will be the lowest grade. All right? So while I'm inputting these grades in here, I can do more stuff, so to speak. All right? So I can come in and I can say, well, my sum, adding them all up is equal to, so sum equals sum plus grades sub I. That just means add the next grade to my counter. And that's what sum is. It's a counter. It's a sum of all the grades. All right? The average I'm not going to do now. I'm going to wait till I'm all done. But how about the highest? All right? If I'm assuming that the highest grade is 0, and anybody who gets a better grade than 0, it's going to become the new highest. If I assume that 100 is the lowest, in fact, I'm going to use here 101, and I'm going to use here -1. All right? So they're going to change right away. So I'm going to say here if grades sub I, sub is short for subscript, and that means if the current grade is greater than highest, well, what do I know? Well, then I got a new highest grade. Then highest equal grades sub I. Okay? And the good news is, once I've written that, it's also the same thing for lowest, except I'm going to have to say if grade sub I is less than lowest, then lowest. All right? So now with what? 40 some lines? Okay? I've got, and 10 of these lines are comments. So now let me get rid of those comments. All right, so now in what? Less than 35 lines. Okay, I can do my grades. I can read in my array. I can get the sum of all grades, the average of all grades, the highest grade, and the lowest grade. All right, so I'm printing them out here, but I can also print out some stuff now. I don't need a for loop. I can just say document dot write, and I can say highest grade, and all I want to print out is highest. All right, and you know what, just so this doesn't all run together, let's put in a couple line breaks before this. All right, so there'll be the highest grade, and I really don't need line breaks now. I'll keep them in anyway, that's fine. And then I can say lowest grade, and that's going to be equal to lowest. Then I can say sum of grades, and that's going to be equal to sum. And then I can say average of grades. Now I can't just say AVG. I can't say that because it's equal to 0, and that's not going to be the average. All right, so what I can do is I can come back up here and say the average equals the sum of my grades divided by 10. And I'll say 10.0 here. Okay? So now I can say average, and I will try to take that and do a 2 fixed on there to make sure it's 2 decimal places. Okay, so now I have my grades, and I'm going to print them out, the sum of my grades, the average, the highest, and the lowest. Now let's see. Again, I could have made mistakes writing this. I don't think I did. I would never try to do that, but let's just look at it. All right, so let's put in our 10 grades. 33, 66, 77, 88, 41, 89, 90, 98, 100, and a 37. All right, so there's the grades for our students, student 1, student 2, etc. And if we notice, if we look through here, our highest should be 100. Our lowest should be, it looks like, 33. And again, that's what we have. If we add together 33 and 66 and 77 and 88 and 41 and 89 and 90 and 98 and 137, we get 719, which makes our average a 71.9. Now, I want to do one more thing to make this a little bit easier for us to read. And that is, I'm going to remove that line break that I put in here. I'm going to change that. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll just, so that's the grade plus, let's put in, I don't know if this will even work, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm trying to put in some blank spaces in here. Plus. All right. Let's run this one more time. I want this to look pretty darn professional. All right. 44, 77, 66, 88, 31, 93, 94, 99, 21, 100. All right, so there's our grades, the student's number and their grade. You can tell by looking at it now, 100 is going to be the highest, 21 is going to be the lowest. If we add all these numbers together, it's 713, which gives us an average of 71.3. All right. So again, what I'm trying to get across to you is, in writing this program with arrays, 40 lines, literally, not less, not more, 40 lines of code. And we've got a full-fledged program here. So, an array can store one or more elements. It's also known as a data structure. The length of the array is the number of elements that are in the array. All right, and I actually think I can do this. When I create the array, I think I can put a number in there. So I can put 10 in there. I believe that'll work fine. All right, then I can make another variable here. So I'm going to say var len for the length equal numbers dot length. Again, this may be the wrong syntax. I don't remember. And I want to put a comment in there that says array length. Again, that might be the wrong syntax. I'll have to check on that. I can do that in just a minute. But now I can change this from 10 to array dot, oops, I'm sorry, just len in there and also down here. So let's double check. I can run it and find out, but I'd rather just come up here and just type in here JavaScript array length. All right, it's the length property. Okay, dot length, which is what I think I said, dot length. So let's see if it still works. Again, what I've tried to do here, maybe didn't do that great a job of, put in a little code, run the program. Put in a little more code and run the program. All right, there's an error in here someplace. Again, we know the error's got to be in here. Len equals numbers. Oh, it's grades.length, not numbers. What I was thinking. So, let's see if that fixes it. That's a good start. 77, 66, 57, 80, 100. So that should be our high. Let's put a 3 in here, and that'll be, oops. What happened there? Let me run it again. I have no idea what happened. 77, okay, somehow the length got goofed up. Grades.length. Should have been 10. Huh. Let's check in here where we've got array length. All right, here they're setting the array first. So array.length is the length of the array. Okay. I'm just going to put in here JavaScript array declaration. Maybe my declaration was incorrect. See, they're initializing the array first, and I don't want to do that. So I'm looking for an example that will allow us to do what we want to do. Okay, we can do this, but I'm going to have to change it around a little. So after I'm going to set the length right now to, oops, X. I'm going to set the length right now. I'm going to set it to 0. All right, and this is not going to help here, but this is still going to be 10. But now I should be able to come out after I've inputted my grades. So out here, I can now say len equals grades.length. All right, and there's something even neater that I even forgot to show you. Okay, here's where we printed out our grades. You all saw this. Okay, you all saw that. All right, so we printed out all the grades. Well, I'm going to grab that same thing. I'm going to print it out again, but first I'm going to say this. Okay. JavaScript sorting numeric arrays. Okay? I can just call, and I want to do this, I want this to be a number array. There we go. Okay? I can literally do this. I can take my array now and I can sort it in either ascending or descending order, which is just so neat. All right, and let's see, get the highest value. So there's even another way, because this is better than the thing that I did before. All right, but let's just grab this. So this will be our array in descending order. All right. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to change this to A minus B. All right, and then I'm going to run this off again. And I don't care about the student name now. All I care about is the grade. Okay, so I am going to put all this in there. And really, I don't care that much about the student number in here either. So I'm just going to put the grade. That's really all that I care about in here, is just the grade. Okay, so I'm going to put the same thing in here. And then I'm going to put the same code right here. You might say, well, that's fine, Jeff. Why'd you do that twice? Now I'm going to put here B minus A. And just watch what happens. Okay? I'm going to put in again 10 random values. Again, 77, 33, 67, 89, 100, 34, 66, 78, 89, and 99. All right, here's our grades. That's good, but the other stuff didn't print, so I don't like that. So we got to see why that didn't print. Len equals grades.length. Should have taken that. I'm just going to keep this at 10. I don't know if that's a problem, but I'll have to look at that. I don't remember that ever being a problem before. Just make that 10 again. And we'll make that 10. And we'll make this 10. Alright. Alright, let's see if that changed anything. And if it didn't, then I don't know what to say. 77, 33, 44, 55, 66, 79, 87, 11, 29, 89. Again, all it's printing out are our first sets of grades. So what's wrong with the rest of this? So all this should be working, the highest, etc., the lowest, etc., but there's a problem somewhere. Oh, it's not points dot sort, goodness. It's grades dot sort. Okay, now let's run it again. 77, 33, 67, 89, 100, 0, 55, 56, 78, 89. Now look what we have. There's our grades. There's our highest. There's our lowest. But, and I should have done this, but if you look here, it's kind of hard to tell. But if you look starting right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So starting with a 0, there's our grades in ascending order. And take a look at what follows. Our grades in descending order. All right? So, do I even really need the word grade in here? No. So I want to make this as simple to read as possible. So where it says grade, etc., I'm going to get rid of that. I don't care. I'm just going to show the grades. So that's after one sort. That's after the other sort. But to try to make this easier, I'm going to do a document.write here. Grades array in ascending order with a line break. All right. And then grades array in descending order. All right. And then we had of our highest and our lowest, etc. So where we printed it out here, again, I don't really need the word grades. The problem is now each one of these grades, I've got a line break afterwards, and I don't want a line break. All right. For now, I'm just going to put a comma and a space. The bad thing about that is that what that means is after the last grade, I'll have a comma and a space. We'll talk about how to fix that, just not right now. Comma, space. So we're still at 50 lines, and now let's see what we can do. In fact, one more thing here. I want to add one more line to this. Nope, to this. So I had printed out in here grades array in ascending, etc. All that good stuff. I want to put here grades array in original order. Okay, so it'll say original, ascending, descending, and I don't need all of these BR tags that I have. I think just one in between each one of these will be sufficient. I'm just trying to make this, like I said, look, I'm not saying application quality, but it should look pretty nice. Run. Chrome. Run. 77, 34, 56, 78, 89, 90, 11, 98, 96, 91. All right, so there's the grades array. Oh, the BR tags are what killed me. So the first one's okay. I need one after this, and I need one after this, and I need one after that. All right, and the highest, the lowest, the sum, and the average. That still isn't bad. All right, now I'm just got to play a little bit with aesthetics. All right, I can handle that. So there's my grades array in ascending order. Good, exactly what original order. Now, before I put them in ascending order, we'll put a couple line break tags in there. Before I put them into descending order, again, we'll put a couple line break tags in there. Finally, before we do this, we will put 2 line breaks here. All right. This program should be just about ready to be put to rest. All right, 77, 66, 47, 89, 100, 3, 67, 89, 99, and 88. So there's the original array. There it is in ascending order. There it is in descending order. There's our highest grade. There's our lowest grade. There's the sum of all our grades. And there's our average grade. So what we've done is really a lot more than what you see in your book on pages 98, 99, 100, 101. They do take the test score thing and they put it into an array on pages 102 and 103. But hopefully you've gotten enough out of this that if you have programming experience, you might have already looked at arrays. But in this chapter, we talked about arrays, and we talked about basically a lot of the specifics of the JavaScript programming language. In the next chapter, what I want to do is, even though this is not a big, it's not a big main, 50 lines is not all that big. But what I want to do is I want to start segregating, and what I mean is I want to write one routine to input our stuff. I want to write another routine to do our highest, another routine for our lowest, another routine for our original order print, another routine for our ascending order print, another one for this print, and another one to print all this stuff. Okay? And that's what we'll get into when we get back, come back and go into chapter 4.